What is going on, guys? It is Wingy here and welcome back to a brand new Doctor Who video on my channel. Now today I thought I would switch it up. I'm not going to be doing a top 10 best or top 10 worst, although the classic series ones, they are coming, have no fear. Today I'm doing a discussion video and I want this to be a discussion video, not just me here saying my opinion and then you just have to put up with it. Today I want everyone to join in. Everyone who watches this, in the comments below, let me know what you think. Because today we are going to be talking about who is the worst Doctor Who companion, like ever. Obviously, at the time of recording this, Series 10 has not started, so As Bill just isn't a part of it yet. But there's still, 50 plus years worth of companions there to talk about. What I'm going to be doing today is giving you 3 suggestions on who I think could be the worst Doctor Who companion. I'm not going to be saying, yeah, these are the most definite 3 worst ones of all time. It's not like a top 3. It's just some suggestions. I'm just throwing them out there, seeing what you people think, and then I want you in the comments to let me know what you think and who you would suggest, and then we can sort of create some sort of poll or something so we can answer the question once and for all, who is the worst Doctor Who companion? Although, as it is opinion based, I don't think we'll ever agree, but it's worth a shot. Let's get on with my 3 suggestions. This first suggestion I actually nearly forgot about, and as soon as I remembered, oh shit, yeah, that was the moment that I thought, yeah, they need to be included on this, don't they? Mel, as played by Bonnie Langford. Now, besides being one of the most forgettable companions, Mel is also one of the most irritating that we have ever had. Thing is, I'm not a massive fan of Bonnie Langford in general, so the fact that she's in Doctor Who, that doesn't really change how I feel about her. She's nothing special as a character or as an actress. I don't like hating on her because she is a fellow redhead, but that's not really a pass. She's still shit. The reason why I have her as a suggestion on here is because she seems like a step backward more than anything else. Mel is quite reminiscent of in the 60s that the stereotype of a female companion is that they are literally just there to scream at the monsters and just ask the Doctor what the hell is going on. And given some of the companions that have followed since the 60s, and even some of the ones in the 1960s, Mel isn't really progressive. It's really kind of noticeable when you put her alongside all the other companions. When you look at a companion like Liz Shaw or Leela, they are not the archetype of a female companion. And yes, you could argue that characters like Jo Grant and Perry are like the stereotypical Doctor Who girl, but there is a difference there. Jo is at least sweet, and she was a really kind, caring, funny, quirky character. She actually had some sort of personality. Plus, you see her character grow. She has, 3 years from Terror of the Autons all the way to the Green Death? She has all that time for her character to grow, and it does. And then with someone like Perry, yeah, you could also argue, well, she's just irritating. She doesn't really have anything about her. The difference is, though, Perry is actually quite likable because not only one does she have chemistry with both Peter Davison and Colin Baker, but you automatically respect Perry right from the get-go because, as we are all aware, the 6th Doctor's regeneration was quite traumatic. I mean, not over the top or anything. Nothing too violent.
All know the fate of alien spies!
But the thing is, after all of that, Perry's still stuck with the Doctor, and that right there automatically tells you what sort of person that Perry is. Whereas with Mel, she's just a health freak. The annoying reason is, as well, she was what is known in the business as stunt casting. So if you aren't familiar with what that means, it's basically when a producer casts someone, not because of their merit as an actor or actress, but because they have star quality, even if they aren't necessarily the best person for that role. John Nathan Turner, the producer, was infamous for doing stuff like this. Bonnie Langford being the prime example. But the question was, could she actually act? No, not really. In fact, the main reason I believe why he cast her was because she had the best scream that he had ever heard on a woman. Yeah, that's just not good. Anyway, she does have quite a memorable moment in Trial of a Time Lord. Her scream goes to the correct pitch, so when the end sting comes in for the closing titles, the pitch of her scream matches perfectly, so it just sort of blends into the end credits. I think that's actually a really cool way to do things. However, other than that, she's completely and utterly forgettable. So yep, she's my first suggestion. Moving on now to a character who I'm pretty sure everyone was expecting to get at least a mention in this video. Of course it's Adric, who else could it be? However, I know he's a really bad actor, but I actually quite like Adric. Whilst I do understand the reasons why people hate him, I do think there is a lot of good things about Adric as well. I can't deny that he is quite a bad actor. Actually no, a very, very bad actor. See, the thing is, Adric actually has a very interesting backstory. When we first meet Adric in full circle, he's obviously in E-Space on his home planet Alzarius, and we see he's part of like a little gang type thing, and he's got his badges, you know, his little star for mathematical genius, and then he stows away in the TARDIS, so the Doctor reluctantly takes him on his travels with him. You see him go from like this weird stowaway to sort of coming into his own, and if you actually follow his story, by the time it gets to Earthshock, I would say spoiler, but it's been out for what, how many decades now? It's actually quite sad. That moment where you see him holding on to his brother's badges as he dies, that is the one thing that actually means something to him. That doesn't stop him being an absolutely fucking awful actor though. A lot of the time he just looks like some dude off the street who just walked onto the TARDIS set, people just didn't think to stop the scene and they just carried on with this random kid just stood there. He just doesn't look comfortable in any scene. His arms just seem to be bolted by his sides, like all the time they're just down by his sides exactly straight like that. And sometimes he overacts, other times he underacts. I mean, I know we've all heard the story that Tom Baker was quite difficult as time went on when he was the Doctor, but the thing is, throughout his tenure he was at least opposite pretty good actors. And then when you get Adric in the TARDIS, obviously Romana, as played by Lalla Ward, is still there, so it's fine. Tom clearly has someone who he can bounce off of. But obviously midway through season 18, Romana and K9 leave, and you can tell Tom just doesn't give a shit about this kid, which is probably wrong. He could show him the ropes as a young actor, but still, he hasn't got much to work with, has he?
Yes. I think we're going to miss Romana.
And K9 too.
Adric, are you feeling alright?
Fine. Why?
It does seem like you have just shat into your trousers.
And it's not like Adric doesn't have his standout moments. He's very good in Kinder, and I think on the whole he's actually quite good in Earthshock, except until at the end. The bit where the Cyberman comes in and shoots the control panel, we'll say it's a control panel and not a typewriter, you just see him and it just looks so weird. In terms of behind the scene reasons, that makes sense. That thing is obviously rigged to explode, and Matthew Waterhouse, the actor, does know this, and he knows that the Cyberman will come in and he is the one who is going to shoot that panel because it's in the script. But the thing is, the character of Adric, he doesn't know the Cyberman is there. He doesn't know this thing in front of him is about to explode.
Of course. That's it.
So it just looks ridiculous when he's just pulling away like that. But as I say, Adric is bound to get hate. He always gets hate. When people mention the worst companion ever, Adric's name is usually thrown around. As I say, I do quite like Adric. I think he does have his moments throughout certain stories, but bad acting is bad acting, and you can't really get over that. A lot of people think he's irritating. Personally, I don't. I don't find Adric irritating. I just find his acting more laughable than anything else. Maybe that's why I like him, because he's so bad, he's good. It's like if The Room was a Doctor Who companion, it'd be Adric. But yeah, I thought if I don't throw him out there, someone else will, and obviously I have a couple of things to say about him. Adric is my second suggestion. So for my third and final suggestion then, it should come as no surprise, yeah, it's Clara. Clara Oswald. What? What do you mean I have to say more about her? But I mean, I said Clara Oswald. That's all the character development Stephen Moffat gave her.
I am the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street.
Fine, let's talk about this bitch then. Now, I know Clara is the latest companion before we get Bill, and I know that she does have fans out there, but to me, she is the worst companion that Doctor Who has ever had. There's a few reasons for this. Jenna Coleman is an alright actress. I mean, she's not terrible, she's not Oscar-worthy or anything, but she can at least act. It's just her character was so paper thin, and it was a mistake that Stephen Moffat did right from the get-go. In Series 7, Clara was supposed to be this big mystery. The Doctor had seen her numerous different times, so when he met the third version of Clara in, well, was it the third? I don't know, but when he met the proper Clara in The Bells of St. John, he was determined to stick with her and find out who she really is. And over the course of Series 7, you don't really know much about Clara, so when it comes to the name of the Doctor, we discover that Clara is the companion that goes into the Doctor's time stream and saves him throughout his entire life. Anticlimactic? Yes. The problem is that after that, Stephen Moffat forgot to give her an actual character since the mystery had already been solved of who she actually is. So throughout Series 8, you still have this this blank mannequin type character who just repeats the same phrases over again. Run, you clever boy. But going into Series 8, we have a brand new Doctor with Peter Capaldi. And like always with a new Doctor, you want to get to know him. You want to see what he's like, you want to see how his character's going to be, you want to see how he's dressed, his little quirks, how he's similar to other Doctors, how he's different to other Doctors. But we didn't get that in Series 8. Instead, it felt like the 12th Doctor was a side character. And this bland character was the forefront of every story. And she just gradually became more and more obnoxious. That became her one character trait, just to be obnoxious and a bit of a twat. Obviously, every time we do get a new Doctor, there are people out there who are unsure of him. Usually, when the Doctor regenerates, the companion, even though seeing the Doctor change, they will doubt it somewhat. But with Clara, it doesn't really work, because Clara has seen the Doctor throughout his entire life. And yes, you could argue that they were splinters of herself and not the real Clara going throughout his timeline. The problem with that is, though, she did actually see every single one of the Doctors at the end of the Name of the Doctor. Plus, you also have Day of the Doctor, where there are 3 Doctors and there's no excuses as to why Clara wouldn't understand that the Doctor can change. So for her to just suddenly stand around and just say, oh no, he's not the Doctor, it just makes her even more obnoxious. The 11th Doctor shouldn't have had to phone her to reassure her that his future self is still him. From the audience's point of view, yeah, it does make sense. There was a bit of trepidation when it came to Peter Capaldi's Doctor. But if you look at it from a story point of view, it doesn't work for Clara. John Pertwee didn't need to phone Sarah Jane in Robot. Peter Davison didn't need to phone Perry in The Twin Dilemma. So at the start of Series 8, she already starts off really dislikable. Then as we go through Series 8, Moffat does actually try to give her something, give her some sort of character development. And this was in the form of the relationship with Danny Pink. Unfortunately, what Moffat forgot to do was actually include the majority of their relationship on screen. So when it comes to Dark Water at the beginning where Danny Pink is killed, I don't buy the fact that Clara was so in love with Danny Pink that she would threaten to destroy the Doctor's TARDIS. So to me, it just looked like this really obnoxious cow getting mad at the Doctor over some guy she barely knows. But then at the end of Series 8, she leaves. And the way that Clara and the Doctor parted ways at the end of Death in Heaven, I thought was easily one of the nicest ways that you could separate a Doctor and companion. The fact that they both came to that conclusion that they are not good for each other and they both lie to each other just so they don't hurt each other's feelings, it was a really understated scene. So when you bring her back in Last Christmas, that kind of undermines it, especially when you see her rejoin the TARDIS again at the end of Last Christmas when she has another fake ending. And then you go into Series 9. So throughout the entire series, sure, she wasn't at the forefront as much as she was during Series 8, but she was still there and she became more and more and more just annoying and irritating. But then she goes to face the Raven. The way that it handles Clara's exit, again, really well done. It's her ego that gets in the way, and it's because of her thinking that she is the Doctor eventually gets her killed. And if he had left it there, I don't think I would have hated Clara, because then when you bring her back in Hell Bent, not only does it undermine Heaven Sent, but it also makes Clara out to be far more important than what she is. It just makes you question, why didn't he go back and save Adric? Why didn't he go and save Sarah Kingdom? Why didn't he go back and revisit Sarah Jane sooner? Just makes the Doctor seem really out of character and really sort of selfish. And the thing is, it also doesn't make sense because, like I said before, Clara did not accept the 12th Doctor at first. So you can't tell me that it's because Clara was there for him when he started this new regeneration cycle. Moffat would just not let Clara die, as poorly as she was written, with barely any of her own individual characteristics. Now she is so integral to the Doctor's life. She's the one who told him to pick the TARDIS in the first place. She's the one who, in Listen, gave the Doctor all of his morals that he would live by later on in life. And even though she rejected him, she apparently is the most important woman in the universe. I think even if it was a character like the Brigadier, or like Sarah Jane, or like Jo Grant, or Jamie, a character who is actually very popular and someone who I really like, if they were doing any of those things that Clara was doing, I still wouldn't like it. It's the fact that it's her doing those things, because it seems like she was forced into the Doctor's life. She doesn't seem like a natural character. Moffat just has to throw her into everything because she is one of his creations. I just don't like it. I can't stand that. While she is my least favourite companion and to me the worst, she's my third suggestion. It's not for definite, it's just a suggestion. In the comments, let me know. And they are all 3 of my suggestions. So throw out who you think are the worst Doctor Who companions. Do you agree with my choices? Do you think there are other characters that are worse than any of the 3 that I've mentioned? And why as well? Don't just throw out a name and not say anything. And let's see if we can come to an agreement, which I know is probably going to be difficult for both the internet and the Doctor Who fandom. But let's see if we can get a definitive answer. Who is the worst Doctor Who companion? But that is going to be all from me. me today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like. If you want to see more Doctor Who related videos on my channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. And as always, I would love you forever. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye. They are something completely different, and they are not the archetype of a You just see the Doctor trying to figure out, who really is she? That wasn't right.